It was a lot. Like in China, everything was different. So any tip that I wanted to get from working people would be like my mom or my dad. And it was nothing the same there. Everything was different. And then when I came back, I saw all these programs, this Cape Verde Digital, um, like these accelerators, so incubators. They have these programs with mentorship, and they help you take your idea out of paper, basically. So in Capo Verde, you have the biggest amount of our businesses are informal, so little shops that don't have POS machines, so they you cannot have payment card payments. You have to pay with cash. This constitutes a constraint. We had a product well thought before checking what's the reality. So usually this is a mistake that many founders make.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys, once again to Africa Tech Talks. Today, our guest is Leida Silva. Leida is a Cabo Verde tech entrepreneur that we are very interesting to know. Welcome, Leida, to our show.
Hello. very
Hello,
nice
lady. Welcome.
very nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for accepting our invitation and sharing with us a little bit more about your entrepreneur side and your life, and how you became an entrepreneur in Cabo Verde, and a lot more of your histories. So, and without further delay, let's dive into our question. Can you share us a little bit of your background and what inspired you to study mechanical engineering in China? Because this really intrigued me.
So in Cabo Verde, we have this, it's like a tradition of people finishing high school and going to study university outside of the country. It's like the thing that has been done happening forever. So when it was my turn, I was a little bit skeptical. I wanted to adventure a little bit. I didn't want to go to Portugal because everybody goes to Portugal.
True.
So I was like, I wanted to go to Brazil or somewhere I could start speaking English because I always dreamt of speaking English fluently. And it's funny that I got to learn it in China. It's very funny.
You
So
also speak
when I
Chinese?
huh?
You also learn Chinese?
Yes, Ideation.
Amazing, amazing, amazing.
So I applied for universities and I got in a university in China for mechanical engineering. But at the beginning, I wanted to study aeronautical engineering because I always loved planes and everything about them. But I got in and it was in English. It was also a surprising fact because usually when you go to China, you have to study in Chinese. But I got the option to study in English and I would have to finish my Chinese as well, though. So I went to China and it was funny. It was mind blowing and life changing. A very huge cultural shock, but it was important for me as a person, and I loved studying there, and that contributed for who I am today a lot, actually, and what I'm doing now.
So you began as a young girl that had a dream to work in the aerospace industry and studying abroad. Suddenly, you found yourself in China, studying mechanical engineering in English at Wenzhou University, correct?
Exactly. Wenzhou University. I studied in Wenzhou. It's in Zhejiang province. I did my major of mechanical engineering. I was the only girl in my class for 4 years. After that, at a job fair, we did like curriculum internships. So we got a
Okay.
job fair. And at this job fair, I got hired at a factory, a parts factory, which had to do with my degree, and that's why they were at the job fair in the first place. After some time, they started liking me, and I started liking working there. And Chinese people have this thing with having international people in their company. It's like having a prop. uh, so they wanted to hire me, so they hired me, and I got to travel the world with them. It was very interesting. It was the first time I worked in my life, and it was very, very awesome. It was an awesome experience, very humbling experience for someone that had never had like people telling me what to do.
Let me try to. I'm trying to imagine how was the cultural shock, because you never worked before in your life, and also you started working in a completely different culture from what you were accustomed to. How was that? How was you said that it was humbling, but how deep was that humbling moment?
It was a lot. Like in China, everything was different. So any tip that I wanted to get from working people would be like my mom or my dad. And it was nothing the same there. Everything was different. They're very strict in some things that we are not. And they have these not spoken rules that they expect
Mm-hmm.
you to know, but you're not from China. So it's not your culture, and then it's not something that they would talk about. It's something that when it turns into a conflict, it is spoken. So it was a little bit it's a little bit annoying, and I don't know, when it's your first time working, you're already skeptical, and then people start acting in a certain way. You're already feeling like, oh my god, the world is out to get me. But but it's things that you learn, I guess, in time. They
Imagine.
had many different things. Like the one thing I always tell people is that usually when you're working in any company that I've heard in my life, you have, if you travel with this company, I mean, they support all the costs of your travel, and you have this like pocket money, how they call it, right? But in
Mm-hmm.
China, there's no such thing. It's like me and my boss traveling, we have this one card. So even if I wanted to buy a gum, I have to go to her and be like, I want to buy a gum.
Mm-hmm.
It's already like very, very different, and it's the rules. So, and they think it's so normal, but for you, it's kind of awkward having to deal with that in a foreign country. You feel a little bit dependent. I don't know, it's not the practice at all in anywhere that I've been before or that I heard until that time.
So you faced those rules that you were not accustomed to, and the biggest thing was that they're not even spoken about. You have to like
Exactly.
guess what they're trying to tell you without saying.
Learn along the way.
Oh, learn along the way, definitely. What was the change that you made? Because you started at that company in China, but then you came back to Cabo Verde, and back in Cabo Verde, you worked in the now this time at the aeronautic industry. I believe it was
Yes.
at the airport. Tell us a little bit more about that experience.
Yes, when I was working in China, after some time, I liked it, and it was, of course, very cool. You're 21 years old, traveling the world, going to the best places, but also there was this. We also had these little issues. They were affecting me so much until I came to Cabo Verde just to get a visa for one of my work trips, and I was like, I don't think I want to go back. When I went back, it was like I spent 3 months working, feeling very sad, like I wanted to come back to my country. And when I got back, it didn't take me long until I started working. I worked for Infarm, which is the medicine factory here. I got to do an exchange in a Portuguese company as well during my time there. And then there was this opportunity to finally work in aeronautical and aerospace environment, which was in Asa. And I moved to Sal, the island, to work there. And I started learning a lot about my degree, but more in a practical way. Everybody, when you say you studied mechanical engineering, they expect you to fix a car, right? But it's not
Mm-hmm.
really, it's not really that. It's just like very, we don't even learn that. So You learn about the systems, you learn about how things work and how to make these things, if that's your idea. But when I got to Asa, I started learning what cars are made of, how do they work, what do you have to do, and even a little bit more turn to the infrastructure mechanic maintenance, because even though I was working at the airport and I learned everything about how an airport and aerospace works, I didn't get to work with airplanes specifically, but it was very, very interesting. Even when I graduate, before even graduating, I was in love with Alipay. Alipay is this digital wallet in China. For me, it was just mind blowing that I could do anything, like in space of seconds. But when I got in, I was like, why I could have had an easier life in China if I just had tried it before. And it's very easy, it's very facilitating in your life. Like you don't have to waste hours or time in unnecessary things. And when I got back to Cabo Verde, I felt this. Even then, I told my dad, because he's the one I always talk about with these things. I was like, I think we should do something like this in Cabo Verde. And we started talking about it. Eventually, I started working and doing other things, and this was back in 2017. We didn't move forward. And then when I came back, I saw all these programs, this Cape Verde Digital accelerators, so incubators. They have these programs with mentorship, and they help you take your idea out of paper, basically. And I was like, that's what I need. So in 2021 was when 2022
Mhm.
was when I finally took that step in December and I applied. When I applied, I got in to the program, and with EasyPay, which is about to be the pioneering digital wallet in Cabo Verde, if you can run fast enough.
I'm sure you will.
Because,
I'm sure.
yes, and when we got in, I needed a partner for the 3 months. And I talked with my best friend Rajiv. He's a software engineer, and he lived in China as well. And we're friends since we're kids. It was the perfect match. And from there, EasyPay went along its way.
So, just so that I can try to understand, you were in China and very happy with what you were doing, very challenged every day by your newfound work or job and company in China. Suddenly, you had to go to Cape Verde, and you understood that you missed all the beauty that those beautiful islands have,
Yeah.
and with the knowledge that you had from China, which is mostly regarding the payment apps that they have two big payment apps. So we're not going to advertise here, but you had that, and you saw that it solved the problem for you, and you found it interesting to bring back to Cape Verde. And also, you found a good and vibrant environment due to Cape Verde Digital, where you found good ground to launch that app with Rajid, which is a friend of yours from childhood. So all got
Yes.
together, and you got to
Yes.
be an entrepreneur in this area, and hopefully you're going to be the first digital payment license in Cape Verde. I'm going to pass now to Victor, that has a question about other ventures that you also have.
Yeah, still in the line to this, your entrepreneurial spirit. You are embracing other interesting challenges as well. Like this, as an ambassador of the Youth International Governance Forum, which is the mission is to promote the digital development across the continent. How did you become part of this forum?
So IGF, it's the Internet Governance Forum. It's an entity from the United Nations. IGF basically works to, it's a governance for the internet. So internet it has always been no lands people, right? And so this is now we're trying to promote the good usage of the internet so everybody can feel safe, and you can know what you can do, what you shouldn't do, and how you can protect yourself and your data and everything when you're using the internet. And when we were at this competition of Capo Verde Digital, we were 25 startups. So till the to go to the finals, there's also a test. So it's not all of us that gets to go. So at this time, during the 3 months, everybody's kind of fighting for attention and fighting to stand out. So I was talking to Rajiv, my partner, and we saw this application for there. It was going around these groups, and we were like, everybody's wondering what is IGF, what is IGF. And I started searching, and I was talking to Rajiv, and then I called him, like, that's in the morning. In the afternoon, I called him, and I was like, Hajib, there's this IGF thing. Cabo Verde is promoting innovation and technology, and I don't see anything about an IGF. I think we have to do this. This is our turn. It's our way to stand out. And he was like, I don't know. Let's check what it is, what we can do. At night, this was like eating me alive. I had to do something, and I was like, I'm gonna send out an email to anybody that I know that works in the sector and see if we can come up with something. And when I did that, well, a few people replied me and they were like, yeah, interested. Even the Secretary of State was like, oh, this is an interesting topic. But after a few days, I received a call, and I was like, I thought that it was because I applied for this thing, but I was sure that I didn't. I was like, but these days you start an application and these people, like, I don't know how they're in your computer and they know and they start telling you emails, or they saw my number. I don't know. And he calls me and he's like, oh, someone, we were looking for youth, people connected to internet governance in these countries. And we sent out a request and they gave me your name. This was like from yesterday to the next day. I was like, this is not possible. It was mind blowing. And that's how I ended up being the ambassador of Internet Governance Forum in Cabo Verde. It was very interesting. I got to participate because they do this School of Internet Governance Forum and the Pan African Youth Internet Governance Forum. They proposed this 3 months school. We had like 300 something students. We had four cohorts speaking Portuguese, English, French, and Swahili, and Arabic. It was five. The goal was 300 students. We got to teach 1,000 African students about the Internet Governance Forum. It was all online. Everybody got a certificate. It was very interesting. And while teaching, I got to learn as well, which then I guess helped me a lot when I started acting on this here in Cabo Verde. And I found out that no, Cabo Verde was not clueless about Internet Governance Forum. We actually had a focal point, which is ARM, and they do a very great job. This year, we are going to receive the Internet Governance Forum of the Lusophony here in Cabo Verde. Last year it was in Brazil, São Paulo, and this year is going to be here. We're excited about that as well.
Right. Very, very enthusiastic and involving. And what is your role specifically? What have you done? Is basically disseminating knowledge, awareness.
So what we did since we began, we started with this school. So we had many Cape Verdeans, 100 I think Cape Verdeans participated. So we began this community, and then we did our first forum at the University of Cabo Verde in September, at the end of September last year. It was very nice because we got the Internet Governance Forum. It involves, it's a multi-sectorial community, so it involves the private sector, the public sector, the education, everybody, technical, which was very interesting. And we got to have other young leaders and other people that are just willing to share their experience and knowledge to participate. And it was mostly, we had it was in person, so at the university, but we also did a live streaming, which was very interesting, and people got to participate. And we had international speakers participating online, young leaders in other countries, or just influential people, or people that have many years of experience in cybersecurity. Now AI takes all the fame and the shine, but
Yeah.
before, when we began this, it was definitely cybersecurity, and it always wakes up a very cool and enthusiastic discussion. It's very interesting. And that's something that we want to bring. I focus a lot on cybersecurity, now AI as well, but for the young kids, I like to focus, of course, youth, it's everybody, but I want to focus more on the high schoolers because I feel like they will benefit more from this, from having this knowledge, and because they were born in this, they use it more dependent of the internet and what's going on online. It's part of their daily basis and their lives since they know themselves. So I think that's what we focus more here in the youth IGF in Cabo Verde.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting. And we know that Cape Verde stands out in the African panorama in terms of the internet use and governance. And in addition to that, you're also active in this women in tech community. Can you
Yes.
also explain that? What have you been doing there?
Women in Tech has been in Cabo Verde, I think, for a year and something. We have our ambassador is Leida Silva. She was chosen to be the ambassador of Women in Tech in Cabo Verde. And I found this initiative very, very interesting. And we, as women in tech, we know how little women we find in our lives, in our professional lives, in the spaces we go to. So I thought it was very interesting to bring this in Cabo Verde. And Mara, she had this team and they were doing very interesting stuff. And I always wanted to be a part of it. And when I got the chance to be, and I started working with them. It's a very inspirational work. It's very nice. It's reinvigorating for women, for a woman to work with these women that are so badass and so cool. And they are very smart and they're doing this work to bring in other girls, bring in other women. So it made sense for me to join them in this endeavor. And I think I started in December and we launched the chapter in January. And it's very interesting. Since then, I got to participate in the Global Summit in Paris, which was very, very interesting. And we did also activities in Cabo Verde. We did the 3 day event for our launch, which was very interesting. We got to bring people from Women in Tech Portugal and people from Women in Tech, the global organization. Was very nice, interesting topics, and also bring call out for people to know what is Women in Tech, and also for other girls and women to want to join the community. And it's a very interesting thing. And I know what is part of our plan and what they did last year as well, which is very interesting. It's the kids lab. So they have these labs that they move around in different communities to teach kids not only about coding but developing and robotics. So just fun activities to make kids start engaging in the tech world and innovation from a young age, and then you start knowing what you like, what you don't like, but you have that option. We didn't have it when we were kids, so we kind of figured this out later. But it's interesting that we have these things going on. It was very nice as well in Paris. Cabo Verde delegation won the best delegation out of 54 new delegations of women in tech,
Yeah,
which
amazing.
means that Cabo Verde is doing women
Yeah,
in tech. Cabo Verde is doing a good job as well.
yeah, congratulations. I was about to ask the lessons or the outcomes of that, and there you have the result. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, good work. Congratulations. I will now hand over to Andre, who has some interesting questions about startup tech side, EasyPay.
Thank you, Victor.
Yes.
EasyPay started as a digital payment system for Cabo Verde that you're now licensing and creating in Cabo Verde. Well, I believe that you have already created at least the skeleton and the app. But there's some data here which, if you allow me to go through, Cabo Verde banking rate is around 80% in 2022. The average, so 4 out of 5 Cabo Verdean residents have a bank account. What problem are you addressing with EasyPay, and what is the outcome that you want?
Yes. So EasyPay is a digital wallet. It's very basic, and it's at the end of the day, it bases on the digital wallet and facilitating transfers and immediate money transfers and paying your bills. It's kind of a super app solving real life problems. So this is what EasyPay brings to Cape Verde. We have a big percentage of banked population, but we have many issues in our daily lives in Cape Verde. Turning when you talk about financial management and you're going to the bank. Going to the bank in Cape Verde takes up to a whole day. Basically, you have to ask for a day off to solve something at the bank. You don't have many ways to do immediate transfers, or you have to pay high taxes. You have many ATMs problems. Some days you have a blackout or there's a problem, the whole country stops basically because everything goes down. So these are issues that we're trying to solve. EasyPay, as we say, is a facilitator in your daily life because it wants to bring technology and innovation just to ease the things that already exist. It's not like we're inventing anything, but we are trying to facilitate what already exists. So in Cabo Verde, we have many interesting facts. That is, our population inside the country is 500,000 people. Outside, the diaspora is 1 million Cape Verdeans. We have 1 million Cape Verdeans spread across the country. We have the other interesting facts that the remittances constitute the biggest part of our GDP, which is we are the only country in the world that has this, for the last time I heard. And besides this, we have a lot of outsourcing. We have people working because nowadays, remote work is what's going on. It's the new way to work in the world. And we have in Cabo Verde is not different, but then we have the difficulty of these people receiving payment. We have issues of these people that send these remittances. So you have all this population outside. These remittances are coming in through different and international ways, or banks, or the mailbox. We can have, and we are proposing to be this national solution that solves all these issues. We are working exactly. We have an MVP, and right now, as the regulation and the law requests in Cabo Verde, we need to have this license, and this is what we are preparing for at this moment.
Okay, Leida,
Okay, continue.
allow me to understand this. So, EasyPay wants to bring lower taxes, or at least lower fares to transfers in Cape Verde, and bring more
Lower.
efficiency to the market. So I think that although there is a lot of banking solutions and everyone is banked, or most of the population is banked, you still lack innovation probably, and you lack efficiency. So you want to fill this gap and create more efficiency, and avoid that people lose time in going to banks, and with the everyday going to the city, because most of the people don't live in the middle of the cities near the banks. So you want to avoid this. Once that Cape Verde already has a very big digital footprint. Also, you want to bring a solution for the people that live abroad. You were saying that more than 1 million people live abroad, and that one of the biggest constitutions of the GDP for Cape Verde is the remittances. So it's also important to solve that issue, and you want to bring a solution to make people, or to make easier for people to bring the money back to Cape Verde, to give back to their families, to support their families, their friends, and
Yeah,
even their businesses that they may want to constitute in Cape Verde.
exactly. And yes, from the remittances, just last year there was $246 million coming in through the ways that I told you. So if I believe having a national and a easier way for this to happen, I mean, give a user friendly and efficient and safe solution to these people. As well, you have a national solution, which means more of this income is staying in the country instead of going to these international companies or other entities that are taking this part in our market. So it's kind of bringing back this money a little bit more to stay in the country and contribute to the economic growth of the country. And EasyPay works, we say that our social cause and our main reason is also the financial inclusion. I mean, not only for people that do not have access, but also to facilitate the access for the people that have archaic or limited access. So in Cabo Verde, you have the biggest amount of our businesses are informal. So little shops that don't have POS machines, so you cannot have card payments. You have to pay with cash. This constitutes a constraint for the population and also for the tourists. We are a country that also base a lot on our tourism. We are known for our tourism, and we are beautiful islands. Of course, we have much to sell and much to give and experience, but as well, we need to facilitate tourists in our country to circulate and to buy and to to be here. So to not have these constraints, like if you go somewhere and you have dinner and then you have a problem paying your bill. This happens everywhere in the world, but here we are trying to fix this problem. We are trying to give another option. We want to be a payment method, just like you have card and cash. We want to be this other option that you have, just for us not to lose when something happens. I mean, I want to be a parallel solution, basically.
Very well. Unfortunately, I didn't have EasyPay when I went there a couple of years ago. It would have been amazing, I'm sure. You're saying that, and this is very interesting. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to dig deep in this subject because although you say that, although I say that a lot of people are they have a bank account and they're banked, what you're saying is that although this is true, they are banked in a very insufficient way, and you want to bring more digital inclusion, and not only digital but financial inclusion, so giving the people better services, cheaper services, and cheaper access to services like mobile payment apps that will allow for people to transact within the island, and even the tourists can come and bring their money in easy pay so that they can better transact with the people there. So that's very interesting.
At EasyPay, we believe I think we do that by focusing on merchants, because our app, we have two versions of it. We have the merchant version and the personal version. The personal version is very versatile, it's very diversified. You have many things you can do, but the merchant is very focused on business management. So we want to give you a solution that you can have on your phone, that you can use to manage your business, because these we're talking about these merchants that are not official or not formalized. So they have like limited access to a public. It's not that they don't make money, but we want to bring them an, a plus. So if when in 2020 only people with cash could buy from you, today you can, or tomorrow in this case, you can have people that have only their phone. Oh, I don't have my card, I can pay with my phone, I can buy stuff from you. So we want to bring this extra public, this extra income to these people. We want to help them and also integrate them into this new world. I mean, exactly, bringing innovation, and but with things that they know, which is their smartphone. We are doing this market research. We went to these ladies that sell at the market or sell fruit at the streets and everything, and they told me, as long as I can see it from my phone, and then you get this like research results where you have a percentage of 70% of Cape Verdeans have a smartphone. That's a lot for a country that has only 500,000 people. So people are ready to have these solutions. And we want to also, there's this big challenge where these banked people in Cape Verde, issue of mistrust in tech, not only in tech, but in official places. We can say, like in
Entities.
banks, we have people that go to the bank just to count their money and go back. It's not really, it doesn't mean that we have the mistrust, that the companies is giving the
Don't
mistrust,
trust. Yeah.
but our people, we are very, yes, we are very skeptical about this. So this is what we are also trying to bring, a little bit of ad tech We want to teach a little bit what is technology, what is innovation, what is digital, what is virtual,
Mm.
why should you trust it, how can it help you, and in your own pace. You don't have to make that jump. Even though in our market research was very, very positive, people are ready, but we want to do this, like making sure that the population is ready to receive a solution like this.
Interesting. And I'm going to pass this to Victor because I'm thinking that he has more curiosity about this topic. I just think that what you said is regarding, or mostly regarding, not only creating a means of payment, but also you want to integrate a more digital culture in the island and in the even in the informal businesses. I'm going now to pass to Victor. I'm sure he has some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Andre. Yeah, I'm curious about your business approach to that. Since this whole ideation, where you find those opportunities, those pains, consumer side, until you transform that into a project and do all the design of the solution, the coding, and now the licensing process that we are going through, right? So
Yeah.
I'm curious about how you set up all this business approach to this opportunity, in fact.
So when we start, it was basically I have to go back to Cabo Verde because they have this plan. So you have this few. It's like a roadmap, right? During the program that you have to follow. So it was very interesting. But for us, there's this fun fact that we had a product well thought before checking what's the reality. So usually this is a mistake that many founders make. I actually figured this out later. So you have the solution. Oh my God, it's gonna do this. It's gonna do that. It's gonna help. But then it doesn't really apply to your day. Asking you questions and you don't know how to answer. So this very well thought solution is not that well thought. So
Yeah,
it's not applying to reality. So we had to do this like going back way with our solution because we had already everything designed, everything ready. And then when we started doing market research, business model, and everything, we had to go a step back and reformulate and redesign and change our business model. And what we did was basically go through these steps, and I had a very fixed idea of how I wanted it to look like and what are the things that were going to happen and what we were going to do. After that, we had my partner Hajib. He's a software engineer, so he knew what platforms, what tech we're gonna use, and we
appropriate.
started studying a little bit more about blockchain and everything. So these are things that we kind of learned along the way, and with the funding that we got from the program, we developed with a third company. We developed our MVP. That is a functional MVP, which means it's ready to use in case. Of course, it's something that needs to be polished for launching, but we wanted to have it ready. So we wanted to have something that we could test and everything. Right now, this is where we're at licensing. We can't even test without a license. I think it's fair enough. It's what happens, but we can have a better system and a better environment for startups like us. When we began, I used to say, I don't think these not I don't I think even the people from the program from Cabo Verde Digital were like, oh my God, we have a problem because everything goes smoothly with everyone, and with us it was always something, always something. We were actually opening the door to a new a set of problems, or a new set of ideas, or a new set of things. It's not like nobody had thought about making a digital wallet, or of course we had, and here in Cabo Verde we have had many cases, but no, I don't think they had people that actually wanted to go through this process in the competition. And 3 months, of course, it's not enough. But what we did was go straight to the central bank as soon as they told us they're the ones you have to talk to. So we went to the central bank, presented the idea. What are the steps that we need to take? It was very important also to know this from the very beginning and not to create expectations, that we're gonna
Right.
revolutionize things in 3 months. So it was very, very important, and I also thank Cabo Verde Digital on this point because it's very good to have. It's like a mentor because when you want to quit, you have this this things that you have these people that are counting on you
You
to.
have Milton always helping you. That's great.
You have Darlene, no caso. I remember Darlene a lot because she was the community manager, and she was always on top of us. She didn't
Okay.
give us a break, so it was very important for the time that we were. I think all 25 startups have this to say as well. It was very interesting. It was good, and EasyPay is going through this phase right now. It's something that takes its time. We have to work with compliance. We have to work with
Right. Yeah.
everything. So this is a step that we also wanted to take our time with. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
And in fact,
we gotta do what we gotta do.
yeah. In fact, you are intersection between the financial system and the consumer. So it's a strong link or a reliable, trustful link that you have to build there. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why eventually central banks are so cautious about all the licensing and going through all this process in the right way. Yeah, yeah. And as you are saying, it is not being an easy way. There have been lots of lots of headaches and pains on this way. But even though it seems that you are so enthusiastic about that,
Yes.
about this new project. So what if I have to ask you, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs that also want to launch initiatives, especially in this financial environment that know?
I always say that it's insist, persist, and never quit. Because you have to go to the point that you feel annoying. That's when you know you're doing the right thing. Because you have to insist. Sometimes you actually, but also you have to be. I think you kind. It's also a very humbling experience. I always say that because you have to be ready. Sometimes you think something true in your head, it makes sense. Along the way, you can try to fix on it and be stubborn about it, but eventually, I think you have to have that sense to actually balance and know what works and what doesn't work, and if you're actually wrong about something, and know when to accept that you're wrong and turn to the right way as well. I This is something that is very cliche, and I think I heard it from all my mentors along my way, which is fall in love with the problem, not the solution. This is very important. This is from someone that fell in love with the solution before knowing the problem, or before,
Yeah,
because it's mind blowing when you get to China from Cape Verde and you're seeing everything work like that. It's like, oh my God, I need this. But then, of course, I couldn't bring the same thing. It's an inspiration. It helped me, but I can't bring that same solution and put it here because it won't work. It's not.
Re-
It doesn't
Reframing
apply
it.
to the reality.
Let me
Yeah.
just reframing what you're saying is what you did was at some point you change your approach, and you said that in the beginning you had one idea and then you changed it. If you were in love with the solution that you were bringing, it wouldn't have worked. You were in love with the problem, so you were trying to find solutions for that problem. Yeah, because
yeah,
whenever we're trying to create a solution and impose a solution to a problem, that's not going to work. And what they say, look, I'm also an entrepreneur, and Victor as well, and we always have that phase where when we fall in love with the solution that we bring to the table.
Yes.
This is the solution, and then we just hit hard in the reality. Sorry, guys, this is not true. And you're laughing because you really went through the same. And those mentors,
Exactly.
they're good. They're
we
good.
They
tend
were
we
good.
tend we tend to rush into solutions and quick results, but it's also very important all this maturity in the ideation and the testing and the pivoting of the solutions, yeah, in order to get to the right process. And so this is something that you recommend to do, and what would you recommend don't to do?
I mean, I don't
So
think I would
your
have.
do's
I
and your don't.
complain. My friends always tell me, "You complain, but you like it." I could never say don't try it because I complain, but I like it, and I'm not that at that point where I can think about it a few times a day. Why did I get myself into this? But I wouldn't say don't try it. I would always say try it and go ahead. If it's something that doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least you tried. And I believe that entrepreneurs have something special because we're problem solvers. I believe there are two kinds of people in the world: people that focus on the problem and people that focus on a solution. And this
Right.
has nothing to do with entrepreneurship. So I'm talking about really like you have. We used to have this thing, in this drawing in our room, me and my South African roommate in China, and it was a cup half full. So everybody that entered the room, we would be like, "Is that cup half full or half empty?" And then we would give them this explanation. There are two kinds of people in the world. I never heard. There are people that kind of give another answer just to play, but they always know if they see it half full or half empty. And I think entrepreneurs always see it half full because we're always looking at the possibilities, not staying stuck with the limitations.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I agree. I also have that experience. Well, I will hand over to Andre again because he has some questions about your future plans. Okay, Andre, your
Thank you,
turn.
Victor. Thank you. We are approaching the end of this conversation. Let me just tell you that this has been an amazing talk. I feel like we know each other for a couple of years already. Your story is amazing. And your vision of entrepreneurship and your vision of how to do things. Maybe it's because you're an engineer, I don't know. You have a very focused mind, and it's very interesting. Your approach also may have been molded by going to China, speaking several different languages. I think that by now you speak Portuguese, English, Chinese. You practically can cover the entire world because you can talk with almost everyone. Um, you have a very diverse background. You were involved with the Cabo Verde Digital, which is an amazing program by the government of Cabo Verde, and they're doing an amazing initiative promoting digital inclusion and digital entrepreneurship in the island, or in the islands, to be more precise. You created, so you're in the IT governance. You created an app to ease off the payment and also the pains of companies and small companies in Cabo Verde, so that they can be more digital included, be more financially included. And this is an amazing route. I believe it's an amazing route for you. But the question is, of course, this needs to be imposed. What are the next steps for EasyPay, in terms of, I know that you're finishing the regulatory phase, but despite that, what do you want to go from here? What is the cup half full for you?
Yeah. So EasyPay, the plan now is definitely to go through the licensing and get licensed and finally launch. We believe our base, we have this project is very Cabo Verde focused, but we also know our market, and we also as a well-positioned country. And to be this bridge between all the African countries, especially inside the continent, we want to go to other content to other countries here in our continent. We want to be this link. We want to try to work on that because I believe that we need more of that here in the continent. We need to have this link between the countries. We need to have this solution that is ours. I believe that this is a work that we want to do, and then of course also bring the continent closer to all the CPLP countries, because we also have this. We are Africans. We speak Portuguese, so we have this ease. Portuguese speaking countries, also Africa and China have this very good friendship. So we also want to help this. I know that the issues that we have in Cape Verde is not only in Cape Verde. We have it as well in other countries in Africa. Of course, they already have solutions there as well, but we promote
Mhm.
always this diversity, and we want to be the link. We really want to create a community and facilitate these transactions and lives of everyone that we can actually. And with this, promote the financial inclusion that we want, and promote this unity of all these countries. I recently was nominated as a Forbes Under 30 for Africa Lusófona, which I believe that is a it was very emotional for me to get this nomination, but I was also like, yes, it's gonna help me with EasyPay, because at this point, if you're an entrepreneur, you can you need every help or any incentive that you can get. So this
Sure.
is also something I'm excited about. I believe EasyPay is gonna be. I always say that my dream is to make history, and EasyPay, it's not because it's my problem, it's my project, but I think it's something that really will fill in a gap that is virgin, and I think you will hear a lot about EasyPay CV.
I hope so. I hope so. I have another question before closing. You were chosen in Cape Verde to participate in the 9 to 9 challenge in China. One of the things that when we were doing the research around EasyPay, we found that you were nominated to go there, but then we didn't had much about what happened there. Can you tell us a little bit and our listeners a little bit about what happened there?
So 99 challenge was very interesting. So the challenge creates this bridge between Portuguese speaking countries and China. So if your solution can help with that, or if you have a solution that can promote this bridge, and you actually think that you can be this bridge between the China and Portuguese speaking countries, you can apply for 99 challenge. And what happens is that all of us that went there, it was a few countries that had this protocol with them. So there were these regional competitions, and the people that won would go straight to the finals. That was one of our cases. That was what our
That
case.
was
And with that, we went there and we got to meet the ecosystem in Macau. We had meetings with everybody from each business, from each sector: financial, health, agri-tech. It was very interesting because they took us to meet these people and to know the environment. We went to Hong Kong, the tech park of Hong Kong, which was very, very nice as well, because we got to know, besides being mind blowing, we got to know all the people, the amazing people that work there. It was very interesting. At the end of 1 week, we had the competition, which was the pitch competition. We have a video on our social media. At the end of the competition, we ended up not winning, but the three first places were amazing, and we were very, very grateful to have shared the experience with them, and we learned a lot. It was very good to meet that environment in Macau. It was meet all the community. The Portuguese speaking community in Macau is amazing. We had a different perspective, and definitely since we came back, EasyPay changed a lot. EasyPay has changed a lot since what it first was. It has morphed into many things, but I think it's always improving by these experiences.
So I guess that at some point, those experiences, you're accumulating them, you're listening to other people, sharing in this kind of environment, and at some point, whenever you, I don't say finish, but whenever you have a more polished product, you are a gathering of a lot of other people's ideas that you shared, and that's very interesting. Before we close, and now it's the last question, unless we have another one. How do you how do you envision the future of digital payments in Africa, and what's the role of EasyPay on it?
Definitely, digital wallets are a huge thing in Africa. I think it's the continent that has benefited the most because we know we had many limitations, and this has given an opportunity and life quality for many, many remote uh, places in countries like Kenya, which is one of the biggest examples in our continent. EasyPay wants to contribute. I believe I have been saying as well that lately I've been kind of making peace with the idea that I might not be the revolutionizer and the game changer, but I wanna give my contribution. I wanna have had a part in it, and I'm sure that this is something that the African continent will have to teach other continents, because it's we always had this thing, and I think our generation is trying to change that. That Africa is the poor continent. You have less because you're African. You're less because you're African. But no, I don't. It's not true, and I think our generation is advocating for this, and we will actually make a change. In that, I believe that we will make a change, and we are already doing it. And financial services in Africa, the digital financial services, have had a have had a lot to teach and to show people how it can be life changing and how it can impact the community and economic growth of countries and communities and the continent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Very well. Very
something.
well. Glad that you made
Yeah.
peace with not being the transformative digital
It took
wallet.
me some time. It took me some time, but
Look. The thing is, don't aim for that because it will happen at some point.
yeah.
If you put on the work, it will happen. Now it's the last one. What can we expect in terms of funding for EasyPay? Are you pre-seeding? Are you going to go to any rounds? What are you planning in those terms?
We're definitely going into rounds of funding. We need funding for our license. The license is it costs $200,000 here in Cabo Verde. I mean, for a startup, it's kind of I think for a startup in the country trying to bring a pioneering solution, it has been challenging, and it's what I've been doing, going to places, talking to people, sharing this idea, this vision, to see if people actually buy in on it. And because we believe, and I think we've always showed people when we talked about this project and people that got interested. Right now, this is what we're doing. We're actually open for funding, and we are looking for investors and partners, because we are partnering to make this more amplified service. We want to tackle every front. We want to be the one that solves most problems. And I believe that that's done by partnering, because you can't do everything alone. Yes, and this is what's happening at this moment.
So VCs, private investors, companies, all Leida,
partners.
and entrepreneurs, whoever wants to enter this kind of endeavor, look at her example, listen to her passion, and you can contact her. We will have the contacts down below. Her LinkedIn, her other social media. Leida, thank you so much. It was a huge pleasure for us to have you in our show. I'm sure our viewers loved the conversation. I just want to make sure that everyone will follow us and will like this show. I'm sure that they will love the program. And if you have the time, follow us, follow Leida, follow EasyPay, follow Africa Tech Talks. We are on YouTube. We are on Apple Podcast, on all the podcasts possible. We have the links below. Just follow us and put a like. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leila.